Today marks an important moment in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, uh, with the developments in the Ukrainian offensive in Kursk and its symbolic resonance with the sinking of the Kursk submarine 24 years ago today. The parallel drawn between these two events by President Zelensky was not just a matter of rhetoric, it reflects the larger narrative of decline in Putin's regime, where history appears to be haunting the Russian leader. The first time since Stalin that an enemy force has invaded the land. In August 2000, the Russian nuclear submarine Kursk sank in the Barents Sea, resulting in the tragic loss of 118 crew members, and the disaster occurred during Vladimir Putin's first year in office and exposed significant shortcomings in his leadership, particularly in crisis management, which he's not good at. Putin's infamous response to Larry King's question, "It sank," was a callous remark that symbolized his cold, detached approach to governance. At the time, many critics predicted this incident would weaken his grip on power, but he not only survived that crisis, he also solidified his control over Russia, showcasing his resilience. Now, if you fast forward to today, the Kursk region in Russia is once again at the center of a significant crisis for Putin, and this time instigated by an audacious Ukraine military operation. The symbolic connection between the submarine disaster and the controlled current conflict is not lost on the Ukraine leadership, and it's probably not lost on Putin or whoever represents Putin at the moment. And these two events could be seen as bookending Putin's reign. The Ukraine's incursion into Kursk is both strategic and symbolic. Militarily, it represents a significant advance by Ukrainian forces, whatever Maria Zakharova has to say about it being militarily pointless. The Ukrainians have penetrated 20 miles into Russian territory, and it marks the first time since World War II that a foreign army has seized Russian land. And it's humiliating for Putin and for the people operating the Kremlin. It involves 10,000 troops advancing with Western military hardware. It signals Ukraine's intent not only to defeat and to defend, but to challenge Russia on its own turf. The timing of the offensive is particularly striking, coming in the historically ominous month of August, which is often referred to as a cursed month in Russian history. The failed 1991 coup, the financial crisis of 1998, the Kursk submarine disaster all occurred in August, adding a layer of irony to Ukraine's operation. Zelensky has boldly declared that this incursion will sink Putin's reign, likening the current situation to the Kursk disaster. While it may seem overly optimistic, his rhetoric serves a dual purpose, rallying domestic and international support while sowing doubt and fear among the Russian people. By framing the offensive as the beginning of the end for Putin, Zelensky taps into the psychological warfare that is as crucial as the physical battles on the ground. But analysts like Andrei Kolesnikov and Alexander Gabuev have pointed out that the situation is complex. While the Ukrainian offensive is a significant humiliation for Putin, it's not yet a strategic setback that threatens his grip on power. The Russian public, often swayed by state propaganda, may rally round Putin, seeing the invasion as further evidence of a Western plot against Putin. Inside Russia, the Kursk offensive has exposed weaknesses in the military and security apparatus, leading to the appointment of Alexei Dyumin, a former bodyguard of Putin, to oversee the counteroffensive. Well, Dyumin was always on the up. This move suggests dissatisfaction with the currently military leadership and a desire to assert tighter control. Dyumin's appointment is a calculated step, signaling that Putin's inner circle remains firmly in control despite external challenges. Yet the offensive has also sparked significant internal criticism, particularly in regions like Belgorod, where evacuations have become necessary. Reports of civilians fleeing in chaos are combined with the frustration voiced by local leaders highlighting the growing cracks in Putin's narrative of invincibility. While these developments are unlikely to immediately destabilize his regime, they contribute to a slow erosion of confidence in the public, in the wider public. The Kursk offensive underscores a critical point in the Ukraine war. The conflict is no longer confined to Ukrainian soil. With Ukraine pushing deeper into Russian territory, the war has taken on a new dimension, one that challenges the very notion of Russia as an unassailable power. The Ukrainian government under Zelensky is sending a clear message that it will not stop until it's secured a just peace, even if that means striking deep into Russian territory. But the risks are immense. The possibility of wider conflict, the possibility that Putin or the people managing his identity could escalate to some form of nuclear conflict, as Russia has warned, cannot be dismissed. His threats are likely to be seen as a deterrent. They add a dangerous element of uncertainty to the situation, and the international community must navigate these developments carefully, balancing support for Ukraine with the need to avoid escalation into a broader war, particularly as there is another war threatening to be escalated into something broader at the same time. The current offensive in Kursk is a pivotal moment, be in no doubt. Whatever the Russian propaganda is trying to point out that this has no purpose, it has a huge purpose. It has a symbolic purpose, a strategic purpose. While it's too early yet to declare this the end of Putin's reign, the parallels to the Kursk submarine offer a powerful narrative of decline. And as Ukraine continues to push into Russian territory and is determined to hold that territory as a bargaining chip, presumably, in any future negotiations, the world watches closely, aware that the outcome of this conflict could reshape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. History doesn't move in expected ways. The Kursk disaster, once a symbol of Putin's early struggles, may yet foreshadow the challenges that could ultimately define the twilight, the end of his rule. Whether this offensive will indeed be the fatal blow that Zelensky predicts is uncertain, but the implications are profound and far-reaching, and while Putin struggles to maintain control from the fridge, and while the people who are managing the Putin image do not have that vitality that once defined Putin, the odds are that this is going to be a struggle for the Russian leadership. But in a struggle, one should never underestimate stupidity.